Aries, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to the Unseen Hands Collective. This is going to be your March shift tarot reading. So we are looking at the shape you are shifting out of this month, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. So Aries, we are shifting into your season towards the end of March, and it shows because it feels like selfie season for you, and let me explain why. The image that's coming to me for you for March is, just stay with me, the hippo with the tutu on from Fantasia, you know, with like the dancing hippos and the dancing crocodiles, and they like dance together and they have this sort of romance thing going on. It's like actually now that I think about it, it's like a question as to whether they're predator and prey or whether they're sort of obsessed with each other and in love with each other. It's been a while since I've seen that, but interesting that the hippo's coming in, and this like ballerina hippo situation is looking at themselves in the mirror and enjoying every minute of it. Like this hippo is like in front of the mirror, checking themselves out, like watching how they move, feeling themselves. Yeah, Aries, you're feeling yourself, okay, in March. And it's such a beautiful and refreshing and lovely energy. So with that image, and then when I pulled the cards from Brian Froud's fairy deck, the first card that came out is the shape you're shifting into, which is himself. That's the name of this fairy. So I'm literally like, okay, it's selfie season. We've got this ballet dancer hippo looking in the mirror and enjoying themselves. That's Aries. This is all about the self. And then boom, there it is, the shape you are shifting into. The shape you're shifting out of is this, it's called the Laum, and it's this energy of exhaustion in relationships, which is interesting. We have this being down here, which it looks like this fairy is sort of crushing them. It looks like they're sort of like, oh, this is a lot to bear. This is heavy, you know, like you're a lot. But sure, I'll keep carrying you, you know? And then this one is exhausted, their wings are tattered, and they're sort of like forlornly dreaming elsewhere. And so there's something in this fairy card that, by the way, this card has been coming through almost all of the readings. This is definitely a thread this month for March for all the zodiac signs is being in right relationship and what elements of relationship and what kinds of relationship in your life bring out exhaustion, bring out a dynamic that just like isn't quite working for anybody involved. And this is something we've been talking about, Aries, for a couple months on the channel with you, of shifting out of relationships that make you feel oversaturated or that make you feel exhausted or that require things of you that just aren't aligned and authentic with who you are. And so I think you're shifting out of that, which I think you already know that, you know, like this energy is almost barely in March for you. It's almost like, okay, yeah, I already know I'm shifting out of relationships like this. And the shift is into yourself. The shift is into your self-expression, the fullness of you, completely embracing all that you are. And there's this gorgeous energy with this fawn creature that is incredibly powerful, focused, resolute, singular, determined, autonomous, all of these things, and yet has a youthfulness, a sort of like Henri, you know, like a wild hare. And that feels like you, Aries. Like, you know, Aries is talked about as the child of the zodiac. And this to me is this beautiful mashup of like that youth and that kind of vigor and that kind of energy and aliveness and curiosity that Aries possesses, mixed with a very singular focus, which if this is you looking in the mirror and enjoying yourself, the singular focus, Aries, is you. I think when you have relationship energy like this in your life, it takes the focus, it perhaps disperses your focus in a way that now is not the time. So this is what I want to say. Like, now is not the time for your focus to be spread. Now is the time for your focus to be quite singular, and it has to come from you. It has to be about you. Basically, it's like, you need to focus on yourself. You could just see it like that, you know? It's self season. The season to focus on you and enjoy yourself. This is what your shapeshift looks and feels like. Even more of that energy being reiterated with the friends, the Oakman, and the fairy who was kissed by the pixies. I mean, Aries, look at this. This is the linear progression through the cards. Shifting out of this kind of relationship and this experience of relationship and into this one, which is a completely different scenario. They're the same situation in the sense that one is holding up the other. They are sharing weight together, but in this card it's not working, and in this card it's working seamlessly. It's working easefully. It's just like breathing, and in fact it's fun. I mean, check out the differences. The one who is carrying this feels like you, Aries. The top character feels like you. The ones who are carrying you, look at the difference in their experience. This one is a little bit hard. It is hard for them to hold you. This one, it's easy. They pick you up one-handed, no problem. Oh, Aries, I got that. In fact, they're enjoying it. They're having a ball. This is the kind of relationships in your life, friendships, partnerships, family, whatever, business partnerships even. People who love to hold you. You know, rather than this situation where they're both kind of like trying to make it work. No more of that, Aries. You don't have to force anything. And it shouldn't feel forced. You know, like the freedom that you need and the space that you need. This is coming off of your February reading. The space that you need to really let yourself fully express and be fully present and not edit yourself or stifle the fullness of your personality in any way. It's like you need relationships that let you do that. And that's what I'm seeing here. You know, if this is you with the blue mohawk and the sparkly tail, the one that's holding you has no problem holding the fullness of everything that you bring to the table and all that you are. You know, when I was talking through the cards with Kevin and Kelsey, my cohorts in the collective, Kevin mentioned that there's often a narrative with Aries that they're too much. You know, and Kelsey is an Aries, so she could really commiserate this experience of feeling like you're too much, or feeling, you know, like people say, oh, you're too much for me to handle, or like, oh, wow, your energy is a lot. You know, it's like that kind of narrative around Aries energy. And so I think part of what we're seeing here is friendships, connections, relationships that allow you to be as big as you are, and that allow you to be as full as you actually are and as you want to be, because they enjoy that about you. They treasure that and value that. And in fact, there's like you know, this one that is holding all that you are seems to be getting a whole lot out of it. You know, they're enjoying that experience of sharing energy symbiotically. Anyway, it's a gorgeous, light, fun, easy connection that I think brings a lot of meaning to your life. And what I love here is the friends, this one that is able to hold you, this is pointing to these three cards. One, the Oakman. And when the Oakman came out, I looked at the eyes on this card and I heard them say, see you as I see you, right? See yourself the way I see you. And I think, and it's a bit of a parental energy. I think Kevin brought that up as we were going through the cards. It's a bit of a parental energy. It's a bit of a, like I see, from this higher vantage, I see all that you are, child. and I love you. In fact, I surround you with sweetness and kisses. I cherish you. And, you know, this could also be seen as the part of you that is so mature. You know, Aries, again, is often talked about as the child, and that is just one dimension of you. There is a part of you that is ancient, that is deep and wise. And, you know, it's like these beings are coming out of a tree that has been there since the beginning of time. That is how ancient and wise and solid you are. And you are also light and fun and hilarious, and you're so sweet and worthy of being loved and surrounded by friends and beings that just want to smother you with sweetness and kisses. And you're incredibly powerful and strong, determined, focused, and ambitious. You are all of these things, Aries, and I think this reading is really encouraging you to look in the mirror and see your multidimensionality and see all of the facets of you and celebrate them, and to choose relationships that are able to see all of that in you easily and celebrate and hold and lift you up. It's selfie season. Okay, my friend, we are now going to go into an extended reading. I'm going to use some other decks, pull some more cards, and see if we can get some deeper insight and clarity from the fairies. So if you'd like to join me for that extended reading, click the link in the description box below, and that will take you to our website, unseenhandscollective.com, where you can find the extended in the shop and also in our monthly memberships. Now, this is only 1/3 of your March shift reading. You also have a shift scope to loop in the planetary movements and the astrology for Aries for March. And then Kelsey has created a guidebook for you to more personally move through this shift. So if you'd like to access those, again, link in the description, head to our site. You can find them in the shop and through our memberships. Okay, Aries, happy birthday for those of you who were born in March. So happy you're here. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you over at the collective site. This is everything you bring to the table, Aries. You're bringing a feast. This is the thing, okay? All right, so this narrative that Kevin really was tapping into about people say that Aries are too much, you know, like, oh wow, Aries, or Aries people are worried maybe that they are too much for people, that they just like, they feel their feelings are too big, their expressions are too wild, they're too dramatic, you know, all of these cliches about Aries energy. And you know what, maybe you are a lot, like, absolutely, hell yeah. Because it takes a certain kind of boldness and fullness of person and creativity to be able to create the way you create and to live a life as big as the life that I'm feeling here in these cards. It's like, you want a really big life. You're gonna need to accept that the only way you get a really big life is if you recognize yourself as a really big person.
I feel as though for you, Aries, they're really asking, it's kind of like this culmination of water energy, which makes sense because we're talking about Pisces in the 12th house, which is a culminating sign, and it's a culminating house. It's culminating the journey around the zodiac. So for you, Aries, this is very much about you gathering all your water, all the feelings, and really, like I said, cultivating intimacy with yourself.